Arnie, heavy win. I think heaviest win since 2019 for the boys. Winning start to the World Cup qualification campaign. I guess, how do you reflect on tonight? Did anything go wrong?
I reflect well on the performance, and it was a goal of ours was to get 3 or 4 goals first half, so I could take off 3 of the older boys to get them ready for Palestine. But I think overall it was a good performance, but I think we still need to be a bit more ruthless in front of goal. I think we had. I agree. I think it could have been double figures easily, and it should have been. And those things we've got to learn to be more ruthless and finish them off.
I guess in a game like tonight, where the gulf between the two sides, technically and physically as well, is just so great. How much can you learn from a game tonight that will be, I guess, replicable not just when you're facing Palestine and Lebanon, but in the next phase of qualification as well?
The most important thing, Joey, for me was was the mentality from the boys. If they had a mindset of complacency, then they wouldn't have had that. We wouldn't have had that performance. And right from the minute they got into the hotel and we had our first meeting, it was all about they've set their own standards and they can't let that drop. And I don't want to see any sloppiness and complacency, otherwise I'll take you off or don't start you. So what was important for me was the energy. The energy was fantastic. Every player on the pitch put in 100%. They weren't sloppy at all, which was good. Again, we had one session to do those attacking patterns and get that all working, and you saw a lot of them worked. So that was great to see.
And just a comment on Jamie Maclaren comes on in the second half, scores a hat-trick, just in the space of half an hour or so.
I can't believe he didn't grab the ball for the fourth, for the penalty. But but that's Jamie. We know what Jamie's strengths are. I've worked with him for a long time. He's a fantastic finisher, and so I was really happy for him tonight. That obviously here in Melbourne, doing it at his home ground in front of his family, and that is a special night for him.
And does that sort of tie into what you just mentioned earlier, because there's so much depth on the bench. If a player is showing even a slight hint, you've got such quality to come on. It's an easy decision to make, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, I think Connor even said it. When you've got young ones in camp and you're bringing young ones through, the older ones are looking over their shoulder, and it takes away that they know that there's some young ones coming through, and it takes away that little bit of sloppiness or complacency, and I truly believe in the Australian kids, and Connor, I know he's very shy in saying it, but he's come on so much, leaps and bounds, and just, again, why is that? Yes, the level in Bundesliga 2 is high, but it's just from playing more football. It's from playing, 40, 50 games a year, and I know I keep saying it back here for the A-League. I just don't get it. I don't get why we can't play 30-odd rounds, 34 rounds a season, 36 rounds plus a cup. And then the players will end up as physically strong as he is because you're doing it more often. Technique, everything improves. Technically, his technique's improved out of sight. And that's from doing it more. Physically, he's on the field training and playing more. So he's physically, like in the last 10 minutes, how he's chasing back and getting back. And probably couldn't have done that in the A-League.
Just on last night, apparently there was a special video shown to you. What are your thoughts on that, and how did you react to that last night?
Oh, man, I couldn't talk after it. It was, having such Australian coaching legends like Wayne Bennett and Trent Robinson and a good friend of mine, Jeff Fennick, giving me those type of messages as well as players that I coached was just incredible, and it was quite emotional for me and with my family on it as well. It was fantastic.
Did they pull anyone from deep in your past or anyone that's like, geez, how'd they find this fella?
Goose Hiddink sent me a text. So now I'm the new Aussie boss, he calls me. And he still tries to claim he's still the Aussie boss. But no, it's, as I said to you guys, it's it hasn't set in yet, and for me, my main focus is just has been on this Palestine game because of the short time that we have together. Bangladesh and then Palestine, and with everything that's going on over in the Middle East and that at the moment, it's been quite stressful for me, and just making sure that and everything is great and getting ready for those games.
Just quick follow-up. How important can a game like this be for someone like a Lewis Miller who had so many chances to run down the right, be aggressive, work on his sort of craft of crossing and that sort of thing?
Yeah, look, again, it's creating that depth. We've still got Nathaniel Atkinson to come back. Ryan Strain was outstanding against England, and he did great in the second half. And it's just giving these kids the opportunity to get to know the other players. And again, I know I say it, but the senior players are crucial with that. And I thought the senior boys tonight were good leaders and led the way.
You touched on it there. You've got the Palestine game coming up now, and obviously there's been a lot of logistical challenges surrounding that, and obviously the game is taking place in a much more broader context about the conflict in the Middle East. What's your mentality heading into that game, knowing that you can't block all of that out, and you and the boys, how do you approach that?
Yeah, look, Joey, it's horrific what's going on over there at the moment, but I don't think we have any control over that. What we do have control over is our performance and playing against Palestine and going out and getting the job done for Australia. And, obviously we are, very sympathetic for everyone and, with what's going on. But, again, it's a game of football and that brings a lot of joy to everybody.
Graham Cassini made his debut tonight. It was only a small cameo, but what do you think of his performance tonight?
Yeah, look, it's he was good. It gives me something again that's different. Like when I look at probably the last 4 or 5 years, I've had to heavily rely on Mitchell Duke because of maybe again lack of big strikers coming through. But Cassini was very good when he came on. He could have scored and you can see by his physique and that he can cause, some havoc in the penalty box.
Arnie, how special was it for you to break that record tonight with also some of the 73, 74 team in attendance, some of the legends?
That was brilliant. Well done by FA bringing them down, the 50-year anniversary. And there was a number of people in that group that have been, my coaches when I played and, I stay in contact with today. But yeah, it was great to see them, on the field, and I think that again, the boys just gave that boys that little bit more of inspiration. When the game started, it was probably, down to them as well that helped that type of start.
Arnie, you just touched on the Palestine game briefly. In terms of your intent going into this one, you said before this Bangladesh game start a strongest starting 11, and you'd go from there. Is it the same approach?
Oh, 100%. There will be changes. But those 3 that I took off, they'll be ready, even more ready for Palestine, and and we've got some good depth that we can make some more changes and making sure Martin Boyle will get across there and he'll be ready to go. I spoke to him this morning and he's buzzing. He can't wait, and so we'll be ready to get across there and get the job done.
And how does that look? Obviously, you alluded to some of the challenges and the logistics. Just go across on Saturday and pretty short turnaround.
Yep, and look, again, FA's been fantastic and supportive and everything. We're getting a chartered flight, which will chop off 6 hours of travel by being able to go directly from Melbourne to Kuwait instead of having a stopover in Doha or UAE. So, the boys just changing, again, what I learned and try to improve things is just changing our model a little bit and program a little bit, that instead of rushing tomorrow morning over to the Middle East. That after the game, the boys tomorrow they'll have a day off here and catch up with family and friends and that, and then the next morning we'll be on the plane going across. So it gives them 2 good nights sleep instead of just one, and getting over across to Kuwait, where we've had a lot of success in Kuwait with every time we played there, we've done well.
Arnie, we were just talking to Connor there about his potential to grow over the next 4 years, and we prognosticate about what the team could look like over the next 4 years. Yourself as a coach, I mean, are you still growing and evolving? How can you still improve as a coach over the? I know it's a weird question, given you're the most experienced Socceroos coach, but
I'm the
are you
oldest.
are you still getting better? Can you still get better as a coach over the next 4 years?
Joey, you learn everything. You learn new things every day, and you learn things about you're working with human beings, and you learn things about the human beings every day, and the difference, and what makes them tick. But again, if I stayed rigid right to what I probably started with, then some things will not work out. And I just when I reflect back onto the last campaign, it was, and I can say this, when we play home and then away, like we did last campaign, each time we did that, our second game was average. We dropped points. We drew against Oman away. We drew against China away. We lost to Saudi away. And when I look back at those games and look back on that campaign, it was down to fatigue. And so I've got to change something to try and fix that, or try to do something different. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe that extra day of relaxation, and the boys come straight from playing on Saturday or Sunday in Europe. They fly across here with no days off, and then I'm trying to, over the 10 days, work them to get them ready. Yeah, I can't do any really when you think about it. I can't do anything physically, technically, tactically. I can do some things, but it's mental. Yeah, and they've got to get their brain clear and have a couple of good nights' sleep before we go over.
Arnie, speaking of learning things, were you surprised when Luongo stepped up for the spot kick tonight?
Yes. So you learn something every day.
Were you surprised about the result of the spot kick, or was that less surprised, the result of the spot kick that he took?
Yeah, look, obviously I leave it to the players. It's the ones who feel confident and ready, unless it's a penalty shootout, and then obviously we tell them who's up for that. But I'll just say I was surprised Jamie didn't grab the ball. He's a great penalty taker.